Welcome, everybody. I'm glad you're able to be here for the interview with Dr. Marta Chelnick. She's a licensed professional counselor, and she currently practices in Kellenworth, which is a neighborhood in Asheville, North Carolina. It's a wonderful place, great place to visit. And she began her career in special education, and after working in special education with children with emotional and behavioral problems, she then began to work in a community mental health program focusing on developmentally challenged children and their families. Marla herself was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 1980, and she's been an active volunteer with the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, and she was honored recently into their Hall of Fame. She's an award-winning writer whose poetry credits include a book and publications in several literary journals. She's an online counselor, and she's been doing online counseling for at least 10 years. So we have the opportunity to learn from Dr. Chelnick in regards to her experience of providing online counseling and her focus and what's been helpful for her. So Dr. Chelnick, can you share with us what was it like for you to get started providing online counseling? Did you have some anxiety about that? What encouraged you to do it? Can you tell us a bit about that process?
Yes, it was kind of a natural evolution, and it was caused by geographic moves. When I moved from Greensboro back to Charlotte, which is where I had lived most of my adult life, I carried some Greensboro clients with me on the telephone. And then 12 years ago, when we moved from Charlotte to Asheville to be closer to family, I took my Charlotte clients with me by phone. The other natural occurrence was that I had done many short-term counseling groups and things of that nature with the MS Society, and specializing in working with people with MS. Geographically, the only way we could work together was by telephone. So it was kind of a natural evolution, and I didn't feel any anxiety about it because in the beginning, all my clients were people that I already have a relationship with.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's interesting because so many people seem to get into online counseling because of moving. Mm-hmm. So, like I moved, I was a clinician in Georgia for about 10 years, and then I moved to New York. So I took a fair amount of my clients with me also when I moved to New York. And I get a lot of calls from other clinicians that are interested in learning about online counseling because they're moving, specifically because of that reason.
Yeah.
And I agree that it's a great way to start, is just starting with your current clients where you already have that comfort level, that trust.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have a base to grow from.
Yeah, certainly. And then also the other reason is because of your specialty. Mm-hmm. So there's not a lot of people that work in your specialty.
Right.
Specifically with, patients with MS.
Yeah, and I also work with other chronic diseases and disabilities. Mm-hmm. And I have a fair amount of clients that had previously been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. We know that we don't use that diagnosis anymore. Uh-huh. We use a different one, but that's just for, insurance purposes and legal purposes. Uh-huh. So our Asperger's clients are now...
communication, social communication disorder or something like that.
Right. So I have several Asperger's clients, and it works perfectly for them because there's not the anxiety. First of all, they don't live in Asheville. I have a couple in Ohio and a couple in Detroit. And it's perfect for them because they don't want you to see.
Yeah.
So it's the perfect kind of counseling to do with that kind of client. If that kind of client lived in Asheville, I think I would have a lot more trouble getting them to come to my office and look at me face to face.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So because of your niche, it's like a perfect fit. And I know it's really hard to find psychotherapists that work with those specific populations in need.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with, having a chronic illness and mental health needs, there's very often that morbidity that we speak about. That actually happens a lot. And also there's been a lot of research that shows that by receiving psychotherapy with chronic conditions, it really helps the physical issues that they're having.
Yeah, it really does.
And then I suppose the populations that you work with, probably many of your clients have a hard time maybe getting to places, transportation, all that kind of stuff. Also, they might have a bad day with their MS,
right?
And, have difficulty getting to appointments. It's just kind of a real hassle to be going from appointment to appointment, especially when you have physical limitations, I would imagine.
Yeah, and this is something that I personally have come to understand because I haven't been driving since March.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I really understand.
Yeah.
And also, many of my clients live in places where they are not aware of services. And one of the things we do together is explore what there is locally to supplement what we're doing in therapy.
Ah, perfect. Yes. Yeah, the care coordination is such an important piece that I think is very often missed. When you have, you're seeing specialists here, and they're not communicating with one another.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And more often than not, the client is not even aware. I recently had a situation with a client where she really needed to go to Planned Parenthood for some medical needs. And I said, "Is there a Planned Parenthood in your neighborhood?" And she said, "No." So I looked it up on the internet, and there's a Planned Parenthood walking distance.
Yeah, she didn't even know.
She didn't even know.
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel like I'm part social worker, but that's what the client needs.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Yeah, and how did she find you, or like how do clients normally find you?
She found me through a family connection, and we've got a pretty good circle of helpers since I started working with her. Found her and a quote autism coach who takes care of that nitty gritty of applying for food stamps and those kinds of things, which I think I can't do because she's in Cleveland.
Right.
But she still believes that I'm driving the train.
Okay. There you go. Yeah. And so how else do clients typically find you?
A lot of it is word of mouth. A lot of it is through the MS Society or goodtherapy.org. I mean, I have several connections in that way on the internet. And I also have a great many followers on a blog that I do every month. I'm a little delinquent this month. I wanted to write about my distance counseling certification, and I was waiting on pins and needles to have that approved.
Yeah.
As, I've been doing it for years, but now that I can have a credential, I think that's really important. And I learned a lot of it in getting the credential that I never knew.
Okay, perfect. And have you been using video conferencing with clients?
Yes, I do.
And what are some things that your clients have said, or how have they expressed the benefit of being able to see you remotely without having to, go to a location to see a counselor?
They love the convenience, especially VMS clients, because we know how difficult it is. And while my home office is accessible, not everyone that I see live in Asheville. It's a small city, so having specialties that take me outside of Asheville or outside of North Carolina they really appreciate the opportunity to work with someone, and they can be in their pajamas and I won't even know that, nor do I care.
Right, right. When it's over the phone, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and how has it been beneficial for you?
I can be in my pajamas.
Yeah, yeah.
And because I'm not super duper mobile right now, the fact that I can work from home
Uh-huh.
with my clients on the phone or my home office is super convenient for
Hmm.
me. And it takes away the anxiety of, having to be specific and rigid and in my time.
How do you mean specific and rigid in your
Well,
time?
if I have a client coming to my home office,
Yeah.
okay, then A, I have to walk down a flight of steps, which I
Uh-huh.
can do, but it's difficult.
Yeah.
B, I have to get dressed.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
if I'm on the phone, I could be on the phone in bed and my
Right.
clients would not know.
Yeah.
So it's more strenuous for me to see clients at home.
Yeah.
And I actually see a minority of clients in my home office.
Yeah. I see. Yeah. Because of you having MS,
Mm-hmm.
it really makes your job much more accessible to you,
Exactly. It does.
and to be able to really help people that need it.
Exactly.
Whereas if you had to always have your sessions in your home office, I would imagine it'd really wear on you after a while with with the challenges of
Yeah. And also Asheville is a very small city.
oh,
And
right.
Asheville has a therapist on every corner.
Ah, okay.
So if you don't like one healer, you can go to the next one down the block.
Yeah,
And when
there you
I
go.
moved here, I had a very, very productive, well-established practice in Charlotte. And when I moved here, I decided that I did not have the energy to build that kind of practice again, nor did
Right.
I want to.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that. It could be quite a challenge.
Well,
But
it evolved for me over my whole adult life. The contacts I made, the
right.
places I worked, the people who knew me, the doctors who knew me, and I just didn't have the energy to do that here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm so glad to hear that you've been doing online counseling for so long.
Well, I'm so glad to know that I've been making mistakes for 10 years that I now can rectify.
Things are always changing and evolving.
Mm-hmm.
We're always learning more. The
Mm-hmm.
technology keeps getting better and easier to use and more secure and all of
Right,
those things, such as the technology we're using now to do this video.
right.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
well,
like
yeah, it works really well. So it's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much for blessing us with this interview and letting us know what it's been like for you and your clients. It's been very, very helpful.
Thank you, Ray.
So,
I
and
appreciate the opportunity.
sure. And can I show well, let me see here. What about, where can people reach you?
I do have a website, and it's
Can I show people your website?
absolutely,
All right.
absolutely.
So I'll share that.
Okay.
So this is Dr. Chelnick's website.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you could learn about her and her services,
Mm-hmm.
the services and her writings here.
Yeah.
So if you want to, see her publications, this is
Right.
where you go. And this is marlachelnick.com. So it's
Mm-hmm.
super easy, marlachelnick.com.
It's very easy.
Yep.
Yep.
And you could contact her right here on her contact page.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Yeah, well, thanks again. And we hope to have you on again.
Oh, thank you, Ray. I
Yep.
enjoyed the training and I welcome the opportunity.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Ray. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.